Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping right into the really fast-moving world of AI.
It certainly is moving quickly.
Yeah, and we're zeroing in on the latest from OpenAI, specifically GPT-4o, which, some people are calling O3 or O4 now, and also the O4 mini model.
Right. The mini's generating some buzz too.
Definitely. There's just so much chatter out there, so we've tried to cut through it. We're focusing on this really insightful analysis. It was originally a YouTube video, actually, called OpenAI GPT-4o and GPT-4 Mini, the AI industry reacts.
A good source to anchor the discussion, yeah.
Exactly. Think of this as like your streamlined guide. What makes these models potentially, game changers? That's really our mission for this deep dive, to understand what makes them stand out.
And what's really striking, I think, is just the sheer speed of innovation we're seeing. It feels like every few months there's a new milestone.
Totally. And this analysis really seems to highlight a pretty significant leap.
It does, a substantial one.
Okay, so let's get right into something that really caught my eye, the intelligence benchmarks. This analysis points out that GPT-4o actually took a Mensa IQ test.
Yeah, I saw that. And the score,
A 136.
136. Okay.
Right. So to put that in perspective, that score apparently positions GPT-4o as, well, potentially the highest IQ model out there right now.
That's really something. What's significant there, I mean, it's not just the number itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's that AI is showing these capabilities like abstract reasoning, pattern spotting,
Yeah.
stuff we used to think was just human.
Exactly. Makes you rethink what intelligence even means for an AI, doesn't it? Beyond just hitting a score.
Absolutely. It pushes that boundary.
And the analysis gives some good context, too. Comparing it, Gemini 2.5 Pro, that scored a 128.
Okay, still very high, but a noticeable gap.
And the previous top OpenAI models, the O1 and O1 Pro, they were around 122. So you see this clear jump.
Yeah, a definite upward trend. And if you step back and look at the bigger picture, these aren't just numbers on a chart. They suggest, well, a faster path towards AGI, maybe. Artificial general intelligence.
Right. What does that kind of elite-level reasoning, as they put it, actually mean when it's in a machine?
It hints at this ability to tackle really complex problems, with a depth of understanding we've only really theorized about before now.
Okay, so moving on from the IQ scores, which are fascinating in themselves, the analysis really emphasizes this specific innovation called tool calling in-chain. Sounds technical, but potentially huge.
It really could be. Yeah, the analysis flags it as a key development.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the ability of GPT-4o and the O4 Mini 2 to smoothly write and then execute Python code during its thought process.
Without losing track of the main task.
Exactly,
Yeah.
without losing coherence. Think about that. It's not just about spitting out an answer. It's about the process the AI uses to get there. Does that change how much we trust the result?
Interesting point. They gave a great example, asking it to calculate compound daily growth for apples.
Right.
Instead of just giving a formula, the model actually wrote the Python code needed, ran it, and gave the precise answer.
That's it. And that just opens up totally new ways to prompt these things. You're not just asking for info anymore. You're kind of guiding an AI that can, well, think like a coder to figure things out.
The potential for complex problem solving seems massive then.
Across so many fields, yeah.
Huge. So let's pivot to some real-world examples. The analysis gets into some really impressive task performance, starting with scientific and medical stuff.
Yeah, apparently GPT-4o is generating answers to medical questions, clinical queries that are really accurate, evidence-based.
Professional standard, even.
That's what they suggest. And what's really interesting is the comparison they make suggesting its ability to generate hypotheses is getting close to what, top specialist doctors do.
Wow. So moving beyond just information retrieval into actual sophisticated reasoning in specialized areas.
Exactly.
Deduction hypothesis generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's this needle in a haystack reasoning. Sounds like it's incredibly good at pulling specific details out of huge amounts of text.
That's the idea. They tested it with different amounts of context. Think of that as the AI's short-term memory from basically nothing up to 120,000 tokens, which is a lot.
Okay.
And it performed really well across the board. It shows this hyper-efficient recall. You can handle massive documents, find the relevant bits, and use them without getting lost.
Yeah.
Super useful, practically speaking.
Okay, but the GeoGuessr stuff, that just seemed wild to me.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty mind-blowing.
I mean, figuring out a location in rural Quebec from just one picture, how?
It really stretches what we thought AI could do with visual understanding and context.
Yeah.
And the other one, the Chicago restaurant.
Right. Identifying the exact dish, the chef, just from a photo of the food.
That level of inference pulling together visual cues, maybe online data. It's astounding, almost feels surreal that an AI can piece that together.
Absolutely. But okay, let's bring it back down to earth a bit. For a balanced view, the analysis did point out some limitations, right? It's not perfect.
Correct. And that's important. No system is flawless. For instance, there was a visual test involving colors where it apparently messed up, mislabeling shirt colors in a picture, something like that.
Okay.
And also some occasional sort of minor slips, like miscounting the letters in strawberry. Small things.
But the takeaway seemed to be that these weren't like fundamental flaws, more like occasional glitches.
Exactly. They seem more like inconsistent errors, little oversights, rather than deep problems with its core reasoning ability.
Right. Okay, so let's dive into the more technical side again. Coding and math. The Project Euler performance sounds insane.
It really is quite something. The O4 mini-high model solved a brand new problem, and these Euler problems are notoriously tricky math puzzles.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Solved it in 2 minutes and 55 seconds.
Whoa.
Which isn't just fast, it's apparently faster than any known human time for that specific problem.
That's incredible.
And in other runs, they mentioned it solving some problems in under a minute.
Wow, okay. And coding. Sounds like it's just as strong there. Handling complex simulations.
Yeah, dynamic simulations like hexagon ball collisions, the kind of thing you need for physics engines, game development. It handled them flawlessly, according to the analysis.
And that's where it outperformed others.
That's the key comparison. Models like Gemini 2.5 Pro and DeepSeek R1 reportedly had bugs or messed up the physics logic in those same tests.
The GPT-4 and O4 Mini didn't.
Flawless performance, apparently, which is pretty impressive for such complex, dynamic tasks.
So to get a kind of standardized view, the analysis mentioned this Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index. How does that help frame things?
Think of it like a standardized test suite for AIs. It ranks them across different skills. And according to this analysis, O4 Mini High actually came out on top in math and coding benchmarks.
Okay, so that lines up with the specific examples like Project Euler.
Exactly. It confirms those impressive results in a broader context.
And GPT-4o, the O3 version, still a powerhouse.
Absolutely. Confirmed as a top performer, especially in coding, consistently beating older OpenAI models. And they also talked about something called token efficiency.
Token efficiency, what's the significance of that?
Okay, so tokens are like the basic units of text. The AI processes sort of like words or parts of words. Efficiency means how well it uses them.
Fewer tokens for the same result.
Pretty much. The analysis found GPT-4o used fewer tokens to reach its conclusions compared to Claude 3.7 or Gemini 2.5 Pro on similar tasks.
And that translates to?
Faster speeds, lower cost to run it, and potentially just better, more streamlined performance overall. Less work to get the same or even better answer.
Makes sense. So it sounds like getting the most out of these powerful models really comes down to how you prompt them. Effective prompt engineering is key.
Absolutely crucial. The analysis actually mentioned a resource for that.
Yeah, HubSpot's free AI prompt engineering guide said it covers things like role assignment, trying different prompts, giving enough context.
All essential techniques, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially as the models get more sophisticated, how you ask becomes even more important.
Okay, so let's broaden out again. Thinking about the real-world implications here. What are the big impacts, the things we need to consider? The analysis raised a security concern, right?
Yes, and this is a really significant point. Those geolocation abilities we talked about, the GeoGuessr stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the warning is that AI could potentially figure out your exact physical location from seemingly harmless things you post online, like you tweet a picture from a restaurant patio.
And the AI could potentially pinpoint where that is.
That's the concern. It raises some serious privacy and security questions that we really need to grapple with as this tech gets better and better.
That is definitely sobering. A reminder of the double-edged sword here. The analysis also used an analogy with games like chess and GeoGuessr.
Right. The point there was, even if AI gets superhuman at certain things, strategy games, visual puzzles like GeoGuessr, it doesn't mean human competition becomes worthless.
There's still value for us.
Yeah, for entertainment, for pushing our own skills, for strategic thinking. Just because a machine can do it best doesn't mean we stop doing it or valuing it.
Interesting perspective. Okay, so wrapping things up, this deep dive, based on that analysis, really shows an AI landscape that's just accelerating incredibly fast. What are your main takeaways?
I think the biggest thing is that these models, GPT-4o and O4 Mini, feel like a genuinely substantial leap.
Hmm.
Not just, tweaking the dials. We're kind of reassessing how we even measure machine intelligence.
And expanding the kinds of complex tasks we might trust machines with.
Exactly. There's a growing confidence, it seems, in their ability to handle really sophisticated stuff.
And the analysis ended by comparing this moment to the original ChatGPT launch. That really frames it as a potentially pivotal moment.
Yeah, it really does. It suggests this could be another one of those fundamental shifts in AI, something that changes the trajectory quite significantly.
So, lots to think about. And maybe a final thought for you listening. Given these incredible new capabilities, the reasoning, the problem solving, even this almost human-like perception, what new possibilities, but also what new challenges might pop up as we start interacting with AI more like collaborators, not just tools. Definitely something to keep mulling over. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.